God, a loving God for everybody. God created men and women the same for me. I mean, women are created from the rib of a man, if I understand correctly what the Bible have said. And God is about love. If we love one another so much, why can't we use that part of the religion and give the same right of education to the women? So this question is for the man. I want to hear it from you guys.
Yeah. Like you said, it should be an equal partnership. I think for men, we need to raise, as Africans, we need to raise awareness amongst our men, our fathers, to know that a girl, child, a woman is a human being. As long as we can respect the fundamental rights of other individuals in the world, we can create a better world, like we want to say. So we can raise awareness through challenging those stereotypes, like the young women should not go to school, the young women should not do this, the women should not do this, and then we wash out all those things that we feel are not giving the women the opportunity to excel. Like in Uganda, the tribe which I come from, our king, the Kabaka, he has the right to alter cultural norms that he feels are not comfortable with the people in the society. We had one which he abolished. I fear talking about it in this global discussion. But he had to alter it because it was demeaning. It was anti-rights of the people he lives with and the people he lives, and he had to grow with it. The culture gives him that power to say that no, this norm we can't practice it anymore because of A, B, C, D. So we need to work with such people. Those are strategic leaders. They're in strategic positions to help us eliminate those cultural norms that we feel are not right. So in terms of the religion, the religious leaders, the supreme guys in the religious hierarchy, we can use them to eliminate those practices that we feel are not, they are not pertinent with the rights of people or individuals. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Do you have any question for me?
Yeah, I think I need to read. Yeah, it's me then. My take on early marriage issues. When you're asking what we actually feel about, what do we think about early marriages, early marriage situation vis-a-vis how it does deny a girl child that ultimate right of achieving education. But one thing we need to actually note is, it's not a very best practice, I would say, because like in my community, you know, like I grew up seeing my father marrying off quite so many of my sisters, and believe you me that they've had quite so many problems within their marriage setting and what. In one or the other, it has denied them quite a very like lots of opportunities out there that they entirely have to rely on men, because these are long-term problems that they do encounter. So when it comes to early marriage issue, in as far as my activism is concerned and my experience, I really think it's still the best practice. But about what we should do, about what role we ought to play as ultimate problem solvers, or as people who think that what is not right has not to be right, is we need to confront these challenges. Like I had earlier on put it, that like most of my colleagues are also, I would add my voice to what they are saying, but by putting it that we're living into the world of global change. There is a huge wave of change. What is culture today may seemingly change. We're having a cultural diversion. There are certain practices that may seem not human to a particular human being, that may be infringing in my particular right, that may be denying that golden talent of a young lady who ought to be someone that opportunity. Such particular practices need to be erased totally. And how do we do that? We need to vigorously raise awareness. Raising awareness by forefronting, as in by putting the men at the forefront into advocating for better practices other than early marriages. And how are we going to do it? We need to work with the cultural institutions. Like, for example, the experience that we have in Uganda, cultural institutions are taking lead in realizing development issues. like you and me know that we can't achieve development, you can't achieve development by respecting the most important component, which is education. If my mother wasn't, like, if you can't educate a woman, then what nation is that? That is a very huge question.
Yeah.
The same applies to the religious settings. The religious section also, change has also, like, fine, it may be like, I'm a Muslim, fine, but still Islam itself pushes for knowledge, so meaning that we need to work with them, those key gatekeepers of the morals in our community, to see that we erase or we undo all those practices, and have men and women walking through this golden opportunity of education, so that we can realize the great destiny of development.
Okay, I hear you all, but still the question remains, how do we give the chance, equal chance to every girls to go to school without being married? And that's something that we're talking about, culture, society, and so on. But we all know that we have to go back to our parents, to our villages, to our grandparents, and tell them and educate them about the challenges. The world is changing, and still every community around us in the world is evolving, but it seems like in Africa we do not want to evolve, and we keep the same thing always for the well-being of the men versus the well-being of the women. So how do you, as a young educated, how can you play a role? I mean, Ahmed, you were talking about seeing your father marrying so many women. I mean, how many women a man can have? I mean, that's where I said there are many things that have to change, because if we can change the mind of polygamy, we can change the mind of early marriage. Because you marry a girl of 16 years or 12 years old and she starts getting pregnant, she will die because her body is not ready for that. Just simple facts. So now I'm waiting for your questions.
Yeah, first of all, would like to understand from you, because we shared our experience this side. Would also like to hear from you what your experience was when you went to school, I hope in Benin. Yeah, secondly, what is your message to other individuals like you? For example, artists or icons, you know, powerful people. What could be your message to them?
Okay. Go ahead. You have more question?
Yeah, I think I actually have. Then the other question would be like, what do you think? What do you think? Like you've heard our side of the story. What do you think needs to be done so as to undo this whole situation and ultimately forward, you know, like make sure that the young women are at the forefront. Then the other thing is, how do we like get to share and get some information that you may seemingly be having, so that we can also shape that can inform our interventions in going back straight to the grassroots and talking to our closest, your parents, our closest relatives, and getting to really undo all those unnecessary practices, so that we can have a better generation like we all advocate for.
All right.
What do you think we should do?
Okay. I'll start giving you, talking to you about my where I come from. I come from Benin, from a family of 10 kids. 7 brothers and 3 girls. I was the last girl, and I started singing with my mom. My mom had a theater troupe. I started singing with my mother. I was 6 years old. And because my mom was educated, my father was educated, they insisted for all of us to go to school. My father was the only one with a paycheck at the end of the month, but he managed to buy the books, the uniform for all of us to go to school. And the deal with my father was, you don't go to school, you don't sing, period. No, there's no discussion, there's no negotiation. Because my father believed that in whatever you do, you have to be able to talk about it. You have to be able to represent yourself well. You have to be able to stand next to every human being on this planet and stand tall and talk to the person